And hello, good evening, welcome to the stream. It's the 22nd of December, we're 3 days away from Christmas and all of our scheduled runs in tonight's stream are scheduled to be in the snow. So it's always a bit strange, isn't it? I was saying in the intro, but we talk about Christmas and snow and everything, but we don't tend to see it much in the UK. And with that in mind, our first run is actually going to be, for a change, away from the UK. We're going to be on the Bernina line, so we're going Italy to Switzerland through the Swiss Alps. Then we're going to straight to London for the East London line and a run from New Cross Depot to Shoreditch and then back to New Cross again. And then we've got a couple of runs scheduled in Scotland. Then we have after that a couple of runs in Scotland, so we're on the Fife Circle, but before that a run on the LNER Azuma, which will take us through to Edinburgh Waverly from Polmont. Now my brother was just telling me the sound's a little bit crackly, so we'll try and fix that, try and unplug the microphone and plug it back in again. I'm hoping actually that I might be able to get myself a new microphone at some point in the January sales, all being well. Sometimes I find that it's the headset that's actually interfering a little bit with the microphone, but hopefully now things might just about be okay. So anyway, let's get going and underway. Only actually bought the Bernina line last night. I mean, it's a lovely run. The only slight point about it is it's not the fastest of runs, but the scenery on it is absolutely spectacular. It's as though you could actually be there. I hope everybody is doing well today on this Sunday. Thanks a lot, by the way, to everybody. We've had a few more subscribers in the last few days. Good evening, Christopher, and thanks for watching. I know it was a bit of a tough choice. Was it going to be Bullseye or was it going to be my live stream today? I think they're repeating it, aren't they, on Christmas Day, so I'll be watching that, I'm sure, then instead. Right, now my brother is reporting that the sound on the microphone is a little bit on the crackly side, and he says it's worse than it was, so let me just try again. Sometimes it's a bit trial and error with the sound. Well, Christopher's saying the sound's okay now. Well, that's good then. Yep, fantastic. So let us go then to our first train. So we're going to start off, for once in a way, away from the UK. We're going to go with the Allegra 8-12 RHB, and we're going to go for a snow-bound run on the Bernina line, or Bernina Linny as it says. I think we'll go for a daytime run. I mean, it isn't an hour and 27 the full run. Whether I'm going to do the whole lot, we'll wait and see, because it's a little bit long and slow. But we'll give it a shot anyway. I've been thinking about buying this really ever since it came out beginning of January. Haha. Yes, absolutely. I must admit, I think a lot of people were a bit disappointed with the announcement. But on the other hand, you know, it's a great thing for the kids. And I know that Dovetail Games would have had to have worked incredibly hard to have got the license with Mattel. So it's all good, really. And yeah, you never know. It might warrant a stream at some point. I know they're doing it on the West Somerset Railway. Straight away you could see what an amazing scenery this is.
Vi dà il benvenuto a bordo del nostro Reggio Servizio per Campo Cologno, Brusio, Miralago, Boschiavo, Cavagila, Alprum e vi augura buon viaggio. In caso di domande, riferitevi al personale di bordo.
Allegra, ladies and gentlemen, the train crew of the Rhaetian Railway welcomes you on board our Regio service to Campo Cologno, Brusio, Miralago, Boschiavo, Cavaglia, Alprum, and wishes you a pleasant journey. If you have any questions, the train crew will be happy to answer them for you.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. Lots of people are disgusted by it, but as I say, I can only really see the positives, because at the end of the day, and if we've seen on this stream, you get lots of interest right across the board, and we've had all ages really, from ages 7 through to, well, quite an age. So I think that's exactly right. And yeah, maybe with the announcement, perhaps they did disappoint a few older fans, shall we say, simply because they were expecting something really adult-wise spectacular, and maybe Thomas the Tank Engine wasn't quite what they were looking for. Now, I must forget that there is a brake on that side as well. There we go. So that should hopefully get us going. And we do have a cruise control on this as well. So we need, well, 33 at the moment, don't we? But we have got a 15 that we're dropping down to. I mean, it was, I forget when it was made originally, actually, West Somerset Railway, but it kind of transfers automatically to the next version of the train game anyway. So it was remastered in Train Sim World 4. It was brought out way back in the day, something like Train Sim World, well, one of the early Train Sim Worlds actually, but it's, yeah, it's available, it's there and running, up and running, and it's kind of a natural thing to do, I suppose, you know, apart from them, say, building the what was it called, the Isle of Sodor or something, then putting it on a heritage railway, because that's exactly what heritage railways do in real life. There will be Thomas days. So this is Tirano, and we're in Italy at the moment. See how beautifully they've captured the setting. And we're in the streets, in amongst the streets at the moment. We do get a bit faster, but quite a lot of the run is at 30 kilometres an hour, which is on the slow side. Tell you what I will do actually, open the window, which you probably wouldn't do in real life because it'd be a bit on the chilly side, but otherwise it's a very quiet unit to drive. Some stunning scenery to come, and I just thought, well, you're not going to get a more Christmassy run than this. Right, we can go up to, well, we can go up to 25 anyway, because it's straight into full power because of the fact that we've got snow. Then wheel slip tends to take in. This is the first time that I've actually streamed a route that's not in the UK, and as I say, it's in a sale at the moment, £11.99 it's available, so it seemed, thought, well, before Christmas I've got to get this. But I hope very much that they do well with the Thomas add-on. I'm sure they will. It certainly does. You go around some amazing bends and stuff, and we get some huge climbs and descents as well. That's really why you need the cruise control, because otherwise controlling this thing is an impossibility. Sometimes, rather oddly, they stick some freight wagons on the back as well. Yeah, forgone the Sunday lunch today. We thought, well, we'd wait until Wednesday with Christmas lunch.
Nächster Halt, Campo Cologno.
Campo Cologno.
Prossima fermata, Campo Cologno.
Next stop, Campo Cologno.
Right, okay, well I was a bit too sharp on the brakes there, I think. Oh, was that? Oh, wait a minute, I might not have pressed think I didn't press enough of the this safety thing. Right. Oh, we've got to get moving again now. Yeah, we're all right. Oh, fantastic! Well, there you go. That sounds good. The thing is, I mean, all the Christmas food to come, party food, this, that, and the other. Sometimes it's nice to just enjoy something normal. We'll see kind of how much of this I'll do, because as I say, it is fairly slow. I mean, it's really beautiful, but on the other hand, it does go on a bit. Absolutely beautiful stations as well. There we go, we're rolling back. Got maximum brakes on. Interesting. Wow. I've got maximum brakes on, but it's still, I wonder if there's like a parking brake on this thing or something, or I've not realised. Tell you what, without the cruise control though, these things would take some driving. I think the traffic that's queuing up on the right hand side is for waiting for us to go past on the level crossing. I mean, we are already a couple of minutes late on the schedule. Yeah, I mean, we're on such a steep incline. Still sliding back. Hang on. Don't seem to be getting much power out of this. Right, make sure, yeah, we're definitely in forward, so. I think we're waiting for the brake to clear, aren't we? Yeah, I think you're right. And then even more so now because hang on a minute. I think I've still got the doors open, haven't I? Right. Okay. I was quite relieved when we moved off the first. Oh, it still says locked doors. Right, now we're moving. Tell I've not had much practice on this one. If you're sitting in those cars waiting at the level crossing, then you're going to be a bit frustrated. Yeah, we're set on 30, so we're all right there, I think. We're probably not going to see it actually, but the level crossing barriers should clear and then the traffic should move through. They should indeed. I mean, they've probably been waiting about 5 minutes or so more than the schedule, and they'll be thinking, why is that train not leaving the station? What's going on? So, Ospizio is next, and we should get the proper pronunciation of it when we get to the station, but you can see we're massively climbing. I mean, you could make a Christmas card out of virtually every shot along this route. Right, now we do have a little bit of straight track, so we can control to 45 now. Set it to 50, oh, now we've got a 35. Well, good evening, Amazed Days. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, hope you well too. Yeah, makes a change that moving away from the trains for an afternoon. Yeah, good to hear from you. Watching my inept driving of this EMU. My excuse is I only bought it last night.
Über ihm drehen wir, ähnlich wie in den Kehrtunnels, eine Schleife. Entlang der Kehrschleife sind runde, iglo-ähnliche Steinhaufen zu sehen, welche früher als Speicher für Wein und Käse dienten.
Tra pochi minuti attraverseremo il famoso viadotto circolare di Brusio. A questo edificio il treno percorre nuovamente un anello per perdere o guadagnare quota, come nei tunnel nella spirale dopo percorso. Tumuli di pietra, simili ai cubi sottostanti, furono usati per conservare vino e formaggio.
In a few minutes, we will be crossing the famous circular viaduct in Brusio. This construction again makes a loop to lose or gain height, like the spiral tunnels up the Bernina. The igloo-like stone mounds below were once used for storing wine and cheese.
Yeah, I must have been blown over by the view. I've watched one or two videos of this done before, but it is stunning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say to you both. Yeah, funnily enough, you know, I was actually thinking of there was the possibility of a Brighton Main Line run, but I don't think I'm going to get a chance tonight. I was re-downloading the patch, the mod from that Czech site, so that you could do the 700, because it's a fabulous run in itself. Yeah, I'm working through till Christmas Eve, hopefully finishing reasonably early, and I must admit, starting to really feel Christmassy from today, really. You know, sort of, oh, I've missed that Sifa thing again, haven't I? Or whatever it's called, Sister, is it? Right, so we can't get full pack. There we go, we're alright. Need to just kind of redo my microphone because I'm not hearing 100% sound. I'm not. Oh, lovely. No, that sounds really nice. Are you going anywhere nice? I must admit, I always think with Christmas that it's, you know, the build up to it's lovely, but until you've finished the work, Christmas doesn't really start until then. So, very much looking forward to the next few days. Sounds lovely being away in a camper van over Christmas.
Nächster Halt, Brusio.
Prossima fermata, Brusio.
Next stop, Brusio.
Tricky just getting these stops right, because the climb is so sharp and severe that I think we're going to go slightly too past the station. I think that's alright. Oh, past. Oh, service failure, past it. Danger. Right, okay. Right, okay. Now we've got to go back to the last checkpoint. I thought I was okay with that signal. I thought the signal was a bit further off. And I think, as far as I remember, I think that just about marks about the first time that I can remember going through a red signal. Oh dear. That car should have waited there. Well, that was his fault, not mine. He ploughed through me. Well, there you go. I mean, you know, you say you're not great fan of Christmas, but you're still having a turkey dinner, so that sounds all right to me. So I'm going to get all the way up to the summit on this run because it's such a long run, but we'll go with it so far anyway. Try and avoid getting through any more red signals. So just to kind of go through the schedule again, so next up something completely different. We're on the district line for an old London Underground version of the route from New Cross Depot to Shoreditch, the old Shoreditch station, then back to New Cross in a D-stock, and then after that we are into Scotland, so we're going to do an LNER Azuma service from Polmont to Edinburgh Waverly, and then a Fife Circle run from Edinburgh Waverly to Leven. It's going to be a little bit snow orientated all the way. Either way, hope you all enjoy a lovely Christmas break. Beautifully modelled though this route, I have to say. The views are absolutely stunning.
In Kürze fahren wir über den berühmten Kreisviadukt von Brusio. Über ihm drehen wir, ähnlich wie in den Kehrtunnels, eine Schleife. Entlang der Kehrschleife sind runde, iglu-ähnliche Steinhaufen zu sehen, welche früher als Speicher für Wein und Käse dienten.
Tra pochi minuti attraverseremo il famoso viadotto circolare di Brusio. A questo edificio il treno percorre nuovamente l'anello per perdere
As ever, customary time to say really, but thanks for watching the stream for new and returning viewers, and if you are new to the channel and I hope you're enjoying it, you're very welcome on board, and if you could like and subscribe, as I said before, we're really grateful. Tremendous thanks for all the people that have subscribed in the last year. There have been a few more in the last week as well.
The igloo-like stone mounds below were once used for storing wine and cheese.
Is that you can see the route overhead, and the chances are we'll probably go around in a big circle and then end up going up that bit shortly. If you're coming the other way, again the cruise control is brilliant because it's impossible to keep to speed, otherwise you're just hurtling away. You can see now we're taking that viaduct and we're going round in a big circle. Because we're supposed to be going uphill, that's the problem. try again. Right, we're okay now. Yeah, I must admit, it does feel a bit like driving a driving test with this thing. It's got tremendous power. Good how we've got the automated announcements on there as well, and that's something that isn't to be found on all the routes on Train Sim World by any stretch of the imagination.
Nächster Halt, Brusio.
Prossima fermata, Brusio.
Next stop, Brusio.
Russia. And this is a route that I think in real life you would be absolutely chuffed to be going on, wouldn't you? It's absolutely beautiful. Still slides past. Oh, it still says we've passed at danger. Even though you could see the signal ahead. Well, okay. Well, we've had a go at it anyway. I mean, it's a lovely route, but I think it definitely needs a bit more practice. But you can see how stunning the scenery is on the route overall. Absolutely beautiful. And at some point, I'd like to do a full run on that. So we're going to move on to backdated train simulator website now, the East London line, and up until 2006 the East London line used to be, well, it was rather retro in many ways, and it was a bit of a haphazard service. I mean, nowadays the East London line's probably one of the busiest lines on the network, but back then it was very much truncated, and it was just New Cross to Shoreditch. Of course, now it goes from Crystal Palace through to Highbury and Islington. So I've slightly altered this to put a bit of snow in, and this is Train Sim Classic, of course. But I thought on all the runs I'm not going to have it as snowing, because that way we can see the background scenery a bit better than you might do otherwise. going through there's millions of routes on Train Sim Classic. And it's under London Underground. That's the District line, and this is the East London line. So this is with the old D stock. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Hi drivers, start by setting your cab up, turning on the headlights. The depot manager will let you know when you can leave. So it's Control, Shift and S to get this thing going. Depot manager here. When you have a clear aspect, you may proceed out of the depot. Your speed limit within the depot is 5 miles an hour. So it's those markers there. We're looking for that to change to 2 whites, and this is one of the old D stock trains with the single door. Now there are destination boards on here, but unfortunately they're all set up for the District line, so we don't have Shoreditch as an option, so we'll put not in use. How about that? There is a bit of a wait, because I did have a try of this last night. But you can have a quick look around the depot. You can see there's a couple more D-stock trains in there. Good to see all the detail there with the... You can see that's the pits where the engineers can wander down and have a look underneath the train, and also good to see plenty of scenery back in the distance as well. And I know that in 2006 this all changed. It became part of the London Overground, so now the line doesn't go to the old Shoreditch low level station, it goes over Shoreditch High Street. And then on to Highbury and Islington. I'm just waiting for a train to come through. I know that signal definitely does clear, but it's just a little bit of a waiting game at this stage. This is a freeware add-on as well, and as long as you've got things like the Just Trains Metropolitan line, then well worth downloading. And the stations again been modelled with a great deal of accuracy. There we go, we've got those clear aspects for us to go. So the idea behind this run is we'll go into active service from Surrey Quays, We'll take that northbound train through to Shoreditch, and then we'll take it back through to New Cross as a round trip. And I do have a plan to make a video. In fact, I've downloaded all the parts. I've just got to actually record it. But I think this could be a recorded video, but do a kind of a more modern London Overground route, and do. The idea is it'd be Highbury and Islington through to Crystal Palace, but we would be missing out the bits with Shoreditch High Street because. And Hoxton as well. We can go as far as Haggerston, then we continue from Whitechapel through to Crystal Palace. So Surrey Quays is our next stop. Quite a contrast really going from the Swiss Alps to East London. We are going to ignore that bit where it's a speed because the thing about London Underground, of course, is when you see the signal, the speed limit change, you can go straight through. You don't have to wait for it for the whole train to come through, and like when it's National Rail. The only exception to that is when you're on tracks where it's shared between London Underground, or TfL as we should call them now really, and Network Rail. An example of that, of course, is the Watford DC lines when you go on that section between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wealdstone. Of course, both Bakerloo line trains and Network Rail, British Rail trains as well go through London Overground. So Surrey Quays is our first stop. You can see again they've put a great deal of attention to detail in at the stations, and it does feel like a well presented run. Yeah, well, we have let the customers on. We are in active service now. Water is our next stop. easy this thing is to drive. And the idea is, I think, that the cab should be about parallel with the screen, so that we can see essentially the screen to be able to close the doors and make sure everything's clear. Rotherhithe next. It was a very run-down service. There's an old, again an old YouTube video of the East London line in the days before. I think it was made by Video 125 of the East London line in these days and these times, and it certainly felt as though it was being run into the ground. See all the lovely artwork that's been done. A lot of these stations aren't massively different now in overground terms, and I think perhaps some of the outside has had a great deal of money spent on them. So Wapping is next. And I love this section as well, where you can see the inside of the tunnels very clearly. Watching an old, well, I was watching a Bakerloo line real life video on YouTube a bit earlier on, and just blown away by the skill really, because they seemed to come hurtling into the platforms, and it seemed as though the brakes only came on at the last second, and of course they judged it perfectly every single time. So Shadwell is next. I mean, the sounds are a little bit remixed, but they do a pretty decent job of it. And this unit itself was created by the guys on the backdated train sim that created the virtual district line. There's a full list of the manual and the credits on there, but they've got a lot of experience of tube trains generally, so they put a great deal of effort into creating these routes. Mrs. Shadwell. Brakes were a bit too sharply applied there from me. Nowadays, Whitechapel is one of the big stations on, well, on the Elizabeth line as well, so it's very much a interchange type of station. We've got the drop down to 20 mile an hour before we get to Whitechapel itself. Snow-coloured walls. Maybe this is supposed to be either a Sunday service or perhaps, who knows, one of the days in between Christmas and New Year, because there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of passengers lurking, and one or two got on there. When you get to Shoreditch, please change hands, be ready to drive the return service. We will indeed. We've got a 10 mile an hour into the buffer stops at the end, which is incredibly slow. So again, thanks to everybody watching, and whether you're watching now or recorded, and apologies if you've heard me say this 1,000 times, but you are enjoying it and you're watching for the first time and you would like to like and subscribe, I'd be tremendously grateful. If you hit on the notifications button as well, then you'll be notified when there's new content. And generally I go live at 5 o'clock for the Sunday streams. We're coming into Shoreditch, the old Shoreditch station, long since demolished. so journey's end. So we need to set this now. Let's do it, I think. Control plus will take us to the other end. So Control Shift and S for Sierra should get us into forward motion again. So we should be set up about right. Yeah, we've got the headlights on again. Doors are already open for the return service. So again, just to emphasise what remains on this run. So we are, well, we're due away at 7:25, so we're ahead of schedule actually a little bit. We're coming at Whitechapel, Shadwell, Wapping, Rotherhithe, Canada Water, Surrey Quays, and then New Cross. And of course we didn't see New Cross last time because we started from the station as well. I think some overground services actually go to New Cross, but some go on to Crystal Palace. And very much an end-to-end run. I mean, the district line itself, there's all sorts of branches that we've got included on there, so you can go to Ealing, you can go to Richmond, quite a few. Quite a few options. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think what we were expecting Amaze Tays, was it? But I mean, hats off to them, really. I was saying a little bit earlier, but it obviously took a lot of work to get the license from Mattel. I've no doubt it come at a price as well, and fair dues. And like we've said on the stream, we've seen viewers of all ages, really, so it will attract a lot of interest, and you know, it's perfectly fine to get younger people involved with it. I mean, I certainly remember reading the Thomas the Tank Engine books as a youngster, so nothing against it. It was just a bit tad disappointing. Maybe they led us up the garden path a little bit, but I guess that's what marketing's all about. And we were expecting for something, either a great route to come out, or we were thinking perhaps there's going to be some core thing in the route that they were changing, something real. And then when it kind of came out, it was, oh, it's Thomas. So I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk about it, and most of it quite derogatory. But yeah, it certainly was a surprise, wasn't it? I think that's one none of us could have predicted, and maybe that was the aim all along, really, I guess. I know Christopher was saying, will I be giving it a run on the stream? Well, why not? I won't mind giving it a run on the West Somerset Railway when it comes out. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. And in a way, it's slightly half-hearted because, you know, it's obviously only really a little bolt onto the West Somerset Railway. It's not as though they've completely been able to create something magical. Maybe it would have been worthy of a, you know, some sort of branch off as a route in its or a game in its own right in many ways. So I mean, all in all, you know, we have those big reveals, and I think essentially we knew most of them, didn't we, from the outset? It was already on the roadmap. The big reveals, more than anything that I can remember, was the North London line with the Wilston to Stratford and the Class 378, where even that kind of knew that was going to be a thing. And then Just Trains with the Class 86 and the Mark 1 buffet and another Mark 1 coach as well, isn't there? I forgot what it is now. Oh no, the Mark 2Fs, that's it, the Mark 2Fs with the air conditioned stock, which will be fantastic. And, you know, there are a couple of other decent things, you know, gameplay packs and so on and so on, but overall it probably didn't quite match the hype. But and it's also kind of wondering when all these add-ons are going to come on and come out. I mean, I think potentially you would imagine it's not going to be too long before the Manchester Airport or Manchester commuter route's going to come. Looking forward to that. I'm guessing the Welsh one is a lot farther off because we've not seen any screenshots of the route itself. And say it's true, I think, of the Dutch route, which I'm looking forward to actually. That'll be quite good to do a route in the Netherlands. Holland, as I keep calling it. Yeah, it will be interesting, and I can't imagine that this licensing that they've done with Mattel would have been cheap. I suspect it must have taken a lot of negotiation and convincing for them to agree, because I think they are, by reputation, quite protective of their licenses and their rights. I mean, the original Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends didn't really come out until I was a teenager, but I do remember reading the books as a youngster. I think the first one I ever had was about Henry and him having his issues with Welsh coal. It was very well created by the Reverend Audrey. I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's right. I must admit, I still struggle with the German signalling. It's quite confusing. You know, it's quite rewarding to get the hang of it, I think, but I would need a few practices on the German side of things off the stream at some point just to have a go at it. But I think it's got similarities. And I've been on one or two trains in the Netherlands before. Remember if there'll be a road map in January. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the beauty of driving British trains is it's kind of up to you to an extent. You see a double yellow, you see a single yellow, you see a red, and you've kind of got an idea what speed you need to be dropping down to, but of course it's all prescribed in the German system, and also it kind of varies, doesn't it, between different, certainly varies between passenger and freight, but I can't remember if it kind of even varies a bit compared with different types of passenger as well. Yeah, excellent. So the question is, I mean, do we think that the Manchester commuter route will come out in January? I mean, it was 0 to 3 months, wasn't it? So, you know, that was October. So, you know, you kind of think January, or I don't know, suppose February might just about fit within the time scale. And what I do love about the idea with this Manchester commuter run is it's not just sort of A to B, there is variations. Yeah, that sounds about right, I would think. And I mean, no doubt Alan Thompson will pop up on a live stream, I would have thought, at some point. But I love the fact that you'll be able to do depot stuff as well, and it'd be quite good to be able to get the Pendolino out at Longsight Depot and drive it into Manchester, and then do a run down to Wilmslow. And you know, same with the Manchester Airport runs, and there's quite a bit going on with that route. I mean, I think everybody would have loved it to have been going through to Crewe, but it's always the same old tale, isn't it, with Train Sim World? People really looking forward to the route coming out, but thinking, oh, perhaps if only it could have gone a little bit farther than what they're doing it to. Yeah, very much so, yeah. And I mean, I'm still hoping. I mean, I know they've said, I've read somewhere that they've said that they are still planning on doing the Crewe to Manchester Airport, Manchester Piccadilly on Train Sim Classic. So as a stopgap, I would be more than happy to be able to do, say, a Pendolino run from Crewe to Wilmslow on Train Sim Classic, and then carry on Train Sim World through to Manchester Piccadilly. That'd be quite good. But yeah, you know, I love the Chatmoss route. The stuff they've done in and around East Anglia is decent as well, and you know, it's good to be able to do now a full run from King's Cross to Cambridge and onto King's Lynn, although in all the time I've owned the route I've never actually driven it past Cambridge yet. And the missing link as well is good with to be able to do Liverpool to Birmingham New Street, and also Warrington Bank Quay and Preston and everything. But they are of a good standard. I mean, I think sometimes, I think we're all guilty of it a little bit, because people look at absolutely every single bit of detail and they're expecting it to be 100% accurate all of the time, which is just not possible. It's kind of, you know, it is a simulation, but I think they have done a good job. I think the big problem they've really had on the Thompson simulation is that it's kind of slightly on the people working part-time to a certain extent. I think Alan himself is full-time, but I think essentially most people are working. I'm toying with the idea of buying the Flirt over Christmas. I mean, it looks a great piece of kit, and I love the remaster that they've done on the Great Eastern Main Line as well. Right, so do you mean like for the Flirt to be on Train Sim World 5? Yeah, yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Yes, yes indeed. And the one thing they said, I mean, they brought out the Flirt originally, and you know, there's a lot of huffing and puffing, and I think the price is quite expensive because it's $37.99, although I think it's $29.99 if you're a subscriber, paid subscriber. But they did say that they were bringing out an AI Aventra, so that Liverpool Street and the surrounding areas would look a bit more realistic, and they even showed that off on the stream a tiny bit. Got to be careful here, we've actually got potentially a red signal coming up. Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yes, we have a red. Ooh, wow. No, I'm not gonna. Oh, it's. Well, we've got both there, haven't we? So, have we got a train in the station? That's green though. That looks like an errant signal. Yeah, I mean, they showed off that Aventra in the stream and then said, you know, we're not going to be bothered about it being too detailed. I think I can go through this, can't I? It must just be an errant signal. Oh, it says denied though. Ooh. Oh, I can hear a train. Oh, perhaps has been a bit presumptuous. Yeah, there is a. Why should that be affecting our path, though? Well, hang on for a minute anyway. Yeah, I'd love to see an 86 on the out of Liverpool Street. Yes, indeed. What with me attempts on the I mean that train can't affect, isn't that signal ahead of us is on green, so Right, now. Oh, no. Now the trouble is, to reset this thing is going to take some doing. Oop, taking screenshots now. Control Shift and S. Right, so we've got to be in, first of all, we've got to be in the brake, haven't we? So, right, now that's forward. Right, okay. So we are in forward. Right, manual time, I think. Hang on. Let's have a look. G-stock. Train sim controls. Right, okay. Once trip cut reset, once the train has stopped, check the TMS panel. There will be alarm tones and a red light labelled trip cut front will be lit, confirming what has happened. Motion will be disabled, full emergency brakes are applied. Moving the... Nothing will check. Do so, putting into a brake notch, typically brake 1. Okay, hit shift and T, okay. You did first to brake action, nothing check. Successful. You will hear a 1 beat confirmation tone. TMS red light will extinguish, bright yellow light. Check up delay. Right, we're off. That's worked. So fingers crossed we can get over the points now. Oh, that's cool to see. That's the development unit thing, isn't it? The engineers kind of train. Yeah, excellent, Christopher. Have you enjoyed your tea? There we go. You were just in time to see me make. Well, I had some issues because the signal was on red, although it was fairly evidently an error with the signal because it was clear, but then it was trying to reset the thing with the trip cock, and I think I've got the hang of it again now. So just on the last part of this run, well, we're only got the last bit now through to New Cross, having come back from making a return trip from Shoreditch. Yeah, that's great. That's the engineering train. I've never seen that in real life on the underground. Oh, excellent. That sounds nice. I thought at first you say wash down with best butter. I hope you enjoyed that. Now the penalty for driving through that signal and getting the clearance is it's now restricting us down to 10 miles an hour, so we'll be a little bit slow for the last part of the journey. I think probably after a certain period it should allow us. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're clear now. Yeah, we're okay. We go up to 30 now. Kind of almost forgotten I got this route, this backdated East London line, and with the overground add-on from Armstrong Powerhouse to the 378, it kind of made me think, I tell you what, I'll give this a go again at some point. At some point I'm going to do a video for Train Sim Classic for a run from Highbury and Islington to Crystal Palace, and we'll just have to miss out the Shoreditch High Street bit and the Hoxton part. Because the old D-stock. So there's a good YouTube video of this line in its kind of retro state as it was up until 2006, where it very much kind of a very skeleton service really. I know. I think that's the trouble, isn't it? I think if I didn't go for that red wine, I'd perhaps be a better driver. I'm well and truly blaming the signalman on this route, or a faulty signal anyway at the best, at the very worst. So that's New Cross Depot that we came in from, and then we're making the climb up towards New Cross Station now for our terminus of this service. It's like kind of one of those kind of crew change stations, isn't it, where they would pause the train to allow the driver or one of the staff to get off. Sharp as well, wasn't it? Into emergency or something by mistake. Well, Control T was the trick cut thing. got some of the train in the platform, I suppose. There we go, needed the trip cut resetting again. I was thinking I probably will be back on next Sunday, hopefully. Try and keep the streams going, and I mean, I'm kind of hoping that, you know, Christmas is perhaps a good time for people to be tuning in and watching, really. So, you know, hopefully just do it as part of the Christmas holiday. I mean, I very much love driving the Met line, and I'll say it's a real test of your memory with the approach control signals, and particularly on that section between Finchley Road and Baker Street. That's you done. Thanks for playing. I hope you enjoyed this updated route from Backdated Train Sim. Certainly did. Although there's a few testing things with that D-stop train. So enjoyed that despite its quirks. And we're going to move on. I mean, the Edinburgh-Glasgow route's had an upgrade for Train Sim World 5 with the timetable in the week, so I think it'll be a good time to have a go at that. So let's reload Train Sim World 5 up. Ah, marvellous. Yeah. And I mean, Charing Cross Station, I've said before, but I would love to see that, well, in either Train Sim Classic, you know, a proper version of it done, because it's an amazing station. Old or new in many ways, but I think the current station is just fantastic to look at. And I love that route on the Steam Workshop for Train Sim Classic, where now you can have Charing Cross or Cannon Street through to Waterloo East and then across the Thames and everything. It's brilliant, really, really good. But it'd be great on Train Sim Classic. Yes, I can imagine that. I think we said before, you know, it's lovely in theory, isn't it, travelling on the train, but if you're commuting and you kind of got that journey from hell every day where you're standing and it's just a fight for space all the time, it's not quite as good fun as you might think otherwise. Right, so it's only 24 minutes this, but it's from Polmont to Edinburgh Waverly in the Azuma. Yeah, who knows, maybe just trains perhaps with their next add-on. Maybe they'll move away from British Rail Blue for a while and actually do the Metline for Train Sim Classic. That would be fantastic.
TPWS and AWS operational.
Yeah, so this is a new bit for the timetable. So just means that you drive the Azuma on the Edinburgh Glasgow route, so we can take it into Edinburgh Waverly, which is pretty good. Yeah, oh yeah, imagine that. Imagine at certain times as well. You know, the last train out on Friday night. Oh dear. It's not the greatest of runs in terms of length. This is about 25 minutes. And this is the first time I've actually run the Azuma on the stream. Live stream. Nice train. This is kind of the opposite of driving the D-stop. This is very easy to drive. How do we put those on?
TPWS and AWS operational.
Yeah, fairly modern, really. You know, sort of the adventure for the Goblin line, and that we see on the Euston Watford junctions right up there as well. But it's kind of one of the new breed. It's missing a cruise control in it though. I think the real one has a cruise control, but other than that, it's, you know, pretty nice. And also they do have the proper license with LNER, so you've got the LNER branding on there. And it's possible with the East Coast Main Line add-on into Doncaster through to Peterborough. Yeah, absolutely, and you've kind of got an indication of it there. And I mean, it's not been fully modernised here. I think it works on the West Coast Main Line, but it says next station London King's Cross, when in reality, but you can see you've got your screen down there with the speedometer, and I think the real one's got more on it, and I think some of these screens actually do something in real life. You know, we've said it a time or two before, but we'd love another bit of the East Coast Main Line to be done, so particularly King's Cross to Peterborough, Doncaster to York, or Doncaster to Leeds would be quite tidy as well. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely right. And the one thing my brother's observed though about new trains, and I think this is true of the Azuma, but absolutely, you know, lovely to look at. They've got a lot of modern features, but the seats just don't seem to be as comfortable as they used to be on the old trains, because on older trains, even ones built in the 90s and the 2000s, which still feel to me quite new, you used to sink in them, and they got, but nowadays they seem to be kind of what you could call ironing board seats. And this has been improved a bit as well with the sound mod from the Train Sim community website. That kind of improves the realism of it. In some ways it's almost too easy to drive. Though we have to also remember about the snow on the ground and wheel slip, so a little bit of care is still needed. But I have to say this was a surprise that they put up in midweek, and this upgrade to the Edinburgh Glasgow timetable, so it was nice to see these runs put in there. So it was a nice opportunity to run into Edinburgh Waverly, and of course before this Edinburgh Waverly always felt really quiet on the route, and I mean you'll see a 385 as well come past us at some point. They're fairly modern trains as well. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, I remember the old ones, and you know, you really would sink into them. And some of the old EMUs, you know, were incredibly bouncy. I have taken the Azuma train down in first class from Leeds down to King's Cross a couple of times actually, but I'm still waiting to do it in a 91, which of course that was the unit we drove the other week when we did that King's Cross to Leeds run on the stream. Yeah, well that's true, isn't it? I have to say that was, I mean, it's same with pubs, isn't it? But you know, as a non-smoker, I was absolutely delighted when they did away with smoking in public places, because it suddenly made the whole experience, whether you're on a train or anything else, made it much more pleasurable. I mean, there was a time when my mum smoked a lot actually, but she then gave up smoking many years ago. Yeah, that's a 385. And of course the performance and the handling of these things, you know, the acceleration, it really does feel top notch. I mean, he puts the Pendolino to shame in many ways when you accelerate out of the station. Well, there you go. Who needs the Swiss Alps when you've got Scotland, and you know, this looks gorgeous as well. Forgetting about those speed limits. be driving on the West Coast main line, we seem to have the advanced warnings, so it gives us a bit more notification. Yeah, no, I agree with you actually, completely. I think the problem for me was that Virgin had the right balance, because they charge more if it was kind of the morning peak or the evening peak. You know, you served a full breakfast in the morning peak, and in the evening peak a full dinner. But in the rest of the day, it would be, you know, you'd still get your alcohol, but you would get a sandwich, some snacks, some cake, biscuits, and plenty to keep you going. But the price was significantly lower. But then Avanti's idea is to kind of maintain the full meal service all day, but charge an increasingly ridiculous cost every time. And maybe the problem is, when I've tried to book, it's been maybe the week before. I think you probably get better bargains if you book 2 or 3 months in advance. But yeah, I agree with you completely. I think they've kind of got it all wrong. Right, now we did see the double yellow there, didn't we? Now we got the AWS. We'll go down to about, yeah, definitely got it that time. Okay, so that's still double yellow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is one good thing they have introduced, this sort of in-between thing where you get first class seats, so you get the comfort but no free food and drink. Yeah, that's exactly the one. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's quite, it feels something special to travel first class, you know, even now, and you've got the experience of the better seats and the comfort, but you know, it's nice to be waited on with some food and drink, you know, particularly if you're not driving, and you can truly enjoy the experience. But LNER's first class is pretty decent, and I think better from a pricing point of view. I think people like Great Western Rail never experienced it, but they offer Pullman style dining, so you get a really nice meal, but you do have to pay on top of the first class ticket for the meal as well. And I've again probably mentioned it as well, but I've done the Caledonian Sleeper 2 or 3 times, and that's again, you have to pay on top for your meal in the evening if you want one, but then you get your breakfast, so it's an amazing experience. But it's kind of one of, you know, I can justify doing every few years, but not regularly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it kind of adds to it, doesn't it, with the food and drink. I do enjoy the comfort as well, though, and generally the feeling of, you know, I don't want to sound snobbish, but, you know, not being kind of cattle class. Of course, it's not as bad as getting on a plane, but you know what I mean. Tram lines going overhead and now alongside us. There are one or two trams in this, but they haven't kind of got a full tram service on here, so we'll probably be dead lucky to see one on this run into Waverly. Exactly right, yeah. No riff raff for me. No. Yes. I mean, having said that, I've experienced crying babies in first class as well as standard. Yeah, that made me smile. Right, we've got the double yellow again, so that might hold us up before we get to Haymarket. Now we've got the Fife Circle line that's just come in on our left, so we'll be going back out the other way shortly when we take the line to Leven. And talking about German signalling, I mean, it's all a bit subjective, and I don't kind of know the exact speed you should get down to, but I kind of feel as though you don't want to be doing any more than 40 when you go past a single yellow. But then when you get double yellow, I think kind of 60 is probably okay. Murrayfield on our left. Yeah, well, that's a possibility. That's a good shout, actually. You know, we could have a ride on the Flying Scotsman. And actually, again, the LNER themselves have had a drive at Plane Train Sim World 5 on the stream, and it's a real Azuma driver, and she had great fun comparing it with the real thing. But she also recently drove the Flying Scotsman. Yeah, fortunately that was a single yellow. Oh, no. I'm not doing very well today, I tell you. The trouble is, the last checkpoint surely was Pelmont, wasn't it? Start of the run. Yeah, it was. Well, I'm not going to do it the whole way. So we're going to have to bring that run to an end. My word, this driving's atrocious tonight. Yeah, definitely could do a run on the Flying Scotsman. I mean, actually, I won't drive it this second, but I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. I'll just quickly shut off. I mean, the only criticism from a streaming point of view is it's kind of, your view is not absolutely fantastic, but this is it. There's a thing of real beauty. And of course it's set, sort of in modern times since it's had all its refurbishments. So it's still got AWS on and stuff like that. Right, so that's that. So anyway, the next run is going to be a lot more flawless, I have a feeling. We will get to see Edinburgh Waverly and Haymarket because we're approaching it from the other direction. So again, I won't go for an early morning because it's sort of a bit difficult to see. So we'll do the 11:01. Well, that's the question actually. I think you can potentially get it up to over 100 mile an hour, and I think it's kind of like not wind assisted but gradient assisted, and I think the LNER lady managed to, oh shakes, right, tell you what, well that's perhaps not surprising because it's better to start the game up afresh. That's what I usually do. Yeah, the LNER lady got it going at over 100 miles an hour, but I think it was very much coming down Stoke Bank, which of course is where Mallard achieved its 126 mile an hour all those years ago, 1938 was it, I think, which will never be beaten as the world steam record, although we have had I think it was an A3 that managed over 100 miles an hour on modern times recently. Oh, you can imagine, can't you? And what hard work it would be being a fireman. I can't say as I would absolutely love that. It's about an hour's ride to Leven. I probably will call it a day after when we get to Leven because I've still got quite a lot to do work-wise tomorrow actually, so I could do with an early start in the morning. Right, we are set up.
Welcome to the ScotRail service to Leven Station. Calling at Haymarket, Edinburgh Gateway, Dalmeny, North Queensferry, Inverkeithing, Dalgety Bay, Aberdour, Burnt Island, Kinghorn, Kirkcaldy, Cameron Bridge, Leven Station. If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to staff or text British Transport Police on 61016. We'll sort it. See it, say it, sort it.
So we're in the venerable class 170, and Edinburgh looking a picture in the background. Hello, Ingrid. I've not actually. I've heard of it, and I've watched. I watched a couple of videos on it, but I've not actually tried it. I think again, just have a look on YouTube. You'll see plenty of videos, so you know it's well worth having a look at it. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Thanks for watching. Apologies for the inept driving from my good self. Yeah, we have to be a bit careful about this diesel train putting the brakes on too sharply. Now we have to be acutely aware that was definitely a single yellow, so we are coming up against the red signal, so we'll try and think about stopping this time. And that's why, because we've got that train coming in. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of interesting games around. I mean, there's that Siberian route as well, which I've only seen one video on, but looks fascinating. And the idea is that you have to kind of keep drinking alcohol so that you stay alive and keep the body warm to a certain extent, and it's quite interesting. I mean, it's slightly gimmicky, and there's a few stunts that you have to set up as well. It's not quite, you know, like a train simulator like this is, but yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff. And yeah, probably watching my streams tonight probably made you think of Derailed Valley, actually, because I've not quite derailed it, but I've done everything but so far. And probably a good time again to say thanks for everybody watching. Again, really appreciate the support, and if you haven't done so before, then please like and subscribe. I'd be tremendously grateful. And thanks again to all the people that have subscribed in the last couple of weeks.
We'll soon arrive at Haymarket. Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
I mean, I was hoping to do the absolutely fabulous livery that Dovetail Games, not Dovetail Games, it's Skyhook, isn't it, who've done the amazing Leven special livery. And they brought it out, but it's not quite been done for this timetable yet, so I'll tell you what, the second they do that, I'll certainly be giving that a run on the stream, because that'll be fabulous. But I get the impression that they were hoping to bring the new timetable out for this route, but it hasn't quite happened yet. So we come into a very snowbound looking Haymarket. Much easier when you get green signals, not all those pesky red signals. This kind of takes me back to, well, about Easter time really, because we had that period where we had Manchester Buxton coming out from Just Train to Train Sim Classic, and then Barking Riverside to Gospel Oak for Train Sim World 4 as it was then, and then the Fife Circle route from Rivet Games, and got a lot of criticism, but they have improved it. It's certainly better than it was. But the idea with this, not kind of putting full power on, because we just aren't going to take it with the wheel slip. The sounds are sometimes a bit quiet on this thing. Might make it a bit better. Just turn the sound up a little bit as well. Let me know if the train sounds a bit on the quiet side, or if I sound a bit on the quiet side. Gateway is our next stop. Then we'll be stopping at Dalbenny, North Queensbury, Inverkeithing, Dalgety Bay, Aberdour, Burnt Island, Kingbourne, Cuddy, Cameron Bridge, finally Leven. I was clicking for the outside view, I didn't hear the AWS. It's a worry. time delay thing there, I think. Yeah, that's the wheel slip button. It isn't really a good idea to be applying full power so soon. A few issues with the earpiece all time because it's not quite full sound, so partly not hearing those AWS things properly. That's better, I can hear it now. That's much better, I can hear what I'm doing. It's only taken most of the stream to get there, but never mind. So, Edinburgh Gateway, the first stop. Again, we just have to be a bit careful on the brakes because, again, you could get a bit of wheel slip.
We'll soon arrive at Edinburgh Gateway. Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
In real life it must be tremendously difficult with the snow just to get it absolutely perfect. So that's one reason why you might find trains running a bit late in the snow. I think you'd change here for the airport, wouldn't you, Edinburgh Gateway? Oh yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, you think all the weight behind you, and I mean I've not tried it yet, but I mean we showed off the Class 87 on West Coast Main Line over Shap, and there's plenty of container runs, and you know you think about trying to get the thing up Shap. If you're halfway up and you get an adverse signal. And that's going to be a job and a half. I do like on this game now, you do actually get the buzz back from the guard. Kind of feels a bit more realistic than on some of the other units. Christmas card look. It's another beautiful part of Scotland. I know we've done Scotland a few times in the streams before. Yeah, definitely when I don't know if it's Skyhook or Rivet Games who are going to do the new timetable or Dovetail Games themselves for this Fife Circle route, but when they do and we can show off that brilliant Class 158 in the brand new livery, then I'll be on to that, that's for certain. I'll have a quick look at the end of this run just to see whether you can actually take a view of the livery, because it's, again, it's lovely to have a look at. It's better now I can actually hear the AWS properly. Kind of telling us that the speed drops to 80, but we won't worry massively about that because we're only doing 72. We are just over a mile to Dalmeny. Was it Dalmany? Dalmany, I think. We'll hear us say with the announcements in a sec.
We'll soon arrive at Dalmeny. Don't forget, take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
Yeah, Dalmeny. If somebody's done I suppose we could do it in free roam actually, but if somebody's done the Flying Scotsman for this route, that would be a stunning route to do it on. You see the amazing Forth Bridge coming up. Go neutral if you want to get out of your seats. There we go. So this is first class in the 170. I don't think you get too much by way of free food and drink here. These are the standard class seats. Ooh, small amount of passengers on. Fortunately we can't have a look inside the toilets. Just have a look at that Christmas card view. There we go, that's an unusual occurrence, isn't it? Somebody walking up the steps towards the platform and holding the phone to the that never happens in real life. It's good that they've got little features like that, but still haven't quite sorted out the passengers fighting with each other though on the platforms at times. This thing shutters will do. Yeah, it seems like it. Maybe he's having a drive himself now. Oh yes, we said we need to go back into forward. That's it. So North Queensferry is next, and of course we're about to go through one of the great landmarks. Well, surely one of the great railway bridges of the world. It kind of starts off almost innocuous at this point. You have indeed. Yeah, you have indeed. And it's perfectly possible as well with the mods that are available to do it in a HSD with the ScotRail HSD, and do it in this 170 as well, and the Azuma as well, and into diesel mode. Never tire of this. I'm doing it with the still with the menu things on, so as I can see what I'm doing out of the cab. We are stopping at North Queensferry this time, which is just beyond the station. I remember doing that before. It really is, isn't it? Can you imagine, you know, being given the task of designing this? I mean, I'm no engineer anyway, but you're given the task of building this from scratch, knowing that I think the original Tay Bridge collapsed after so many years in a bad storm. So you think, you know, you've got to build something that's going to hold up to the currents of the Forth of Firth. Amazing, isn't it? I've no idea whether it still happens, but there's a few houses as well near to the edge of the bridge, and there's interviews with people in the past where they say bits of the bridge occasionally used to fall off and land in their garden. I don't know whether that still happens. Talking about the odd behaviour of passengers a little while back, and we saw one there. He was perched on the edge of the platform, but he did at least get up again when he saw the train coming. That was good of him. I've got a bit of wheel slip, but I think we'll be alright. I can't remember in driving this route before whether I've ever actually stopped at North Queensferry. There's the road bridge, incidentally, on the right. Yeah, so they've kind of put some houses down here, and I don't know if there's any kind of a cross. Yeah, you've got some houses there, so it'd probably be houses round about here, I would have thought. They say bits actually used to fall off the station. Let's another look at it. You can see it from afar. And as I say, they've even got as far as putting in the road bridge, which I don't know whether, not sure whether they've gone to the trouble of putting vehicles to run on it. I don't think that's necessary, actually, given the distance, but you get a good view there of the Forth Bridge itself, and that's the much more modern road bridge, isn't it, in comparison? Good excuse to drive this route again to Leven, because it's the first time I've done it in the direction from Edinburgh to Leven, rather than the other way round. So it's going to be lovely in the snow. There's some lovely stations alongside the coast as well, as we've seen before.
We'll soon arrive at Bernina.
Should be compulsory.
Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
All routes that are being released have got announcements on. Sadly, this is the only one where it happens on the, pretty much anyway. We did a bit on the Swiss Alps one earlier on. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've been up to most parts of Scotland, and again, that would be ideal for your camper van. I mean, the whole of the Highlands and Scotland, and there's some absolutely beautiful areas. Funny, but we were talking about the features on that might have been announced when we got Thomas the Tank Engine called in, but I'd love to see like some proper announcements on the stations. That would give you a real flavour for being on a station. You know, if they were realistically recorded, preferably by Anne Germany, who pretty much does all the stations in real life, apart from in Scotland as it goes, but also the passengers as well. I mean, it's a stupid thing, but I'd love to see them actually walk up onto the train, walk down through the vestibule and sit down properly, because what they do now is they walk into the vestibule, disappear, and then reappear on the seats. So it's only a little thing, but I'd love to see that put in place. Wales is beautiful, and Devon and Cornwall and parts of North Yorkshire. I mean, there's that Dorset. There's some absolutely beautiful places all over the UK, but well, that's the burning question, isn't it? That is the burning question. I mean, somebody said, who's obviously perhaps heard Thomas the Tank Engine in more recent years, there's a more modern narrator than Ringo Starr, but he was the classic, wasn't he? But might be a bit beyond Dovetail Games' budget, and I'm not sure how old he is. Still living, isn't he, Ringo? I'm doubting myself now, but he would say, "Wait, it'd be great to have some recordings and have a bit of him included." I think somebody said the other day we'll probably get Matt Pedalson instead of Ringo Starr, who's like the chief executive of Dovetail Games. I mean, if you read the forums, earlier in the week, the community went absolutely berserk about their announcements, and but it has been done, and I'd say personally I don't think it's a bad thing. As Maze Taste was saying earlier on, maybe it could almost have been a separate game in its own right. Yeah, absolutely. I think they have to try and put some sort of story to go in with it, to try and really interact with the kids in some way. I think that really would work. And I think, and again, there might be other bits that come to it at a later date, but I believe, that was Dalgety Bay. Okay, well, we won't be stopping at Dalgety Bay tonight. I don't know. If it's, in theory, it's an add-on for an existing route. So, we're only going to get Thomas the Tank Engine and diesel, I think. So, if it's $9.99, maybe $10.99, $11.99, I'm certainly not paying £30 for it as an add-on. But be a bit of fun, I suppose. And you can almost drive it seriously and say, well, it's part of the West Somerset Railway. This is a Thomas the Tank Engine day. You know, it can be tempting, I suppose. You could, absolutely. You could. There's absolutely nothing stopping you from putting Thomas the Tank Engine onto Bakerloo line, and you know, a bit of fun. That's what you can do, because you can put any train on any route pretty much. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what the price is. I mean, of course, if you're a Dovetail Games ambassador, which, as far as I can gather, means you can't criticise Dovetail Games and you've got to say nice things about them, then you get all the add-ons for free. But I can't help thinking, repeating myself slightly, but you know, they must have paid an absolute arm and a leg to get the rights from Mattel to use the Thomas the Tank Engine name. Haha, yes. Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, there is that. There is that. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, I don't know, they've got to do some good things because, I mean,
arrive at Aberdeen. Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
I mean, the one thing they have been able to do, of course, is they do get slightly advanced copies of all the routes, so they're able to do a kind of a preview of the route the day before it's publicly available. But I suppose it's kind of means you've kind of really made it, and you know, you are considered somebody that's, well, they just call them ambassadors, don't they? But yeah, well, this is it. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, completely agree. And you know, we've had all ages on, haven't we, with the stream? We've had we've not heard from Zachary, have we, this week? And we had Laura, so we got like a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old on, and don't know whether Duncan's been watching, but you know, he's at the other end of the age spectrum. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying so, because you know, he talks about Steam, remembering Steam in the 50s and the 60s. So that's one of the great things about the hobby, really, the fact that there is this massive interest of all ages. You know, why not? You know, it's kind of like, at the end of the day, they're producing a game that they want general interest from. So, you know, why not go into the Thomas the Tank Engine market? I think a lot of the criticism about it was just simply because the way they built up to it, because they got all these days of special announcements every day, and they said culminating on December the 20th with something really special, really exciting. So that got people's heads thinking, you know, what on earth's it going to be, and there's all sorts of ideas and speculation. And of course, I think people obviously was slightly disappointing. As Tay said, it's, you know, sort of, the one thing you can certainly say is it was surprising. That's one thing that nobody predicted at all. Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah, and you know, maybe a bit younger as well. I mean, I certainly remember reading Reverend Torby's books when I was little, and then the TV series didn't start till I was in my teens, and you know, a bit of a guilty pleasure, but I still loved it even as in my teens. You know, it was so good. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Most of the announcements, you know, were on the last road map pretty much, apart from a couple of extra things. Oh, blinking ink, that's a nuisance. I really don't understand what it is. I think it's sometimes to do with this headset. I think the secret is to try and make sure it doesn't interfere with the headset. I hope that's better.
Will soon arrive at
Ah, brilliant. That's good news. I might have a look at the sales and just see about getting another. Oh, blooming. Yeah, it must have got better when I unplugged it briefly. How it works perfectly at times, the microphone, and then other times is awful. Yeah, well, I have done, to be honest. It's just sometimes it's just you can't get any definitive reason why. You know, it's 1 minute it works fine. Most of the time it seems to work all right, but then another time it's a little bit on the blink. Seems to be better when I unplug it, plug it back in again. Let's try that again. Can't do any harm. I mean, sometimes it might even be possibly the background noise from the processor as well, because as time goes on, I think the fans start to work harder on that, so it might even be the fans, in all honesty, from the processor. I know. I mean, it might sound dapper, it might be the train as well, possibly. I think the trouble is if we shut the windows to make it quieter in the cab, but it's probably too quiet, that's the thing. I don't know whether that sounds better, but then you probably can't hear the train hardly, I would have thought. So Kinghorn is next. Let's just try, out of interest. I've had joy before with opening the window on the other side, but you still get some outside view. Sound. I seem to remember driving this train before and there being a bit of interference. Yeah, well that's right, yeah, it's very true. Stunning route. So again, just to say once more, thanks for everybody that's been watching, whether you're watching it live or recorded, and thanks again for all the company and the comments. And if you haven't liked or subscribed before, then I'd be tremendously grateful if you could. And you never know, it might improve the driving on future weeks. But also hit the notification button because you'll be told about future streams. Although usually it's always 5 on a Sunday, unless there's absolutely anything different going on, I'll let you know. I want to try and find time to get some more videos up, but again it's just finding the time really, and I hopefully get 1 or 2 up over Christmas at some point. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, and absolutely. Well, I enjoy doing them. And there is still, I mean, you know, some of the routes we have now covered several times, but there's loads of things for Train Sim World and Train Sim Classic that I've not even touched yet to show, and there's loads of stuff that I just haven't driven in ages. You know, a good example of that's like the English Riviera, you know, like Exeter to Paynton. I mean, that's a lovely run. And, you know, thanks for your support as well. And I mean, I think, you know, you think, well, I've been doing these live streams for 3 months, or thereabouts, must be just over 3 months now, and I think you've watched nearly every one of them, so that's brilliant. And you know, it's providing the backbone for the support, because I think the sheer fact is, if I've been doing these live streams every week and absolutely nobody was watching them at all, you know, I'd lose heart, and then I wouldn't want to continue with them. But the fact that there have been regular viewers has been absolutely tremendous, and you know, really appreciated. again, just look at the view there. I mean, they might be being a bit simplistic on the scenery, but my goodness me, you'd be happy having a view looking out on the bay, wouldn't you, like that? Even with the barking dogs. Yeah, absolutely, and that's been, you know, fantastic. I mean, I'd like to. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I would love to. You know, again, it's just trying to think of ways of increasing it, really. But there's a lot of competition. So it's all kind of steady, and you know, I think the key is getting the subscriber amount up, because and that's increased. And some weeks have been better than others. There was quite a few last week. I've said before, but I also have to thank my brother as well, because he does the fabulous thumbnails that we use on both the intro and the background as well. So we use a screenshot off Train Sim World. We generally do that on Sunday morning, but he does kind of the artwork and gives it that added feature. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so, and that's the case, isn't it? It's kind of slow, but I've you know, kind of looked at other channels where you know, they've been doing a similar thing with Train Simulator, and you know, there's some pretty decent ones as well, but you know, some with hardly any views at all. And it's a shame, really, with the effort that people put in, but he's just trying to find, trying to be a little bit different and trying to find, you know, things that people aren't necessarily doing, but mixing it in with things that people are doing as well. And you know, I've had little things where the subscriber count has gone massive. I mean, it helped a lot at the start of the live streams. That produced a decent effect initially, and also one of the great things, and again, it's pure chance really, but I did a video on the Elizabeth line, and that's been probably my most popular video so far. That's got 27,000 views, and people seem to love that. And the idea was it was a full run from Paddington to Heathrow Airport. We combined Train Sim World and Classic. So, you know, there are plenty of things to do. It's just, sometimes it's just work gets in the way, really. You know, you never know one day. I mean, I'm quite a while off retiring, but, you know, if you do it full time, then the sky would be the oyster, really. Or sky will be, what is it? The sky's the lobster or something, if you were Arthur Daly. That's Wraith Rovers, which kind of reminds us that we're not far off from Kirkcaldy. kind of can, but it's kind of what I managed to do was to do the bit from what's it called, Hayes and Harlington through to Heathrow Airport, and that was with TrainSim Classic. But I mean, really, it needs a lot of work to make it look particularly good.
We'll soon arrive at Kirkcaldy. Don't forget to take your belongings with you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, me and my brother started watching them again, well, a couple of years back now, and we only got halfway through the second series, I think. But oh well, you know, I absolutely adore Minder. There's even a train, Christmas Minder, isn't there, with Minder on the Orient Express many years ago. And again, some of our younger viewers would be Minder, Arthur Daly, what are they on about? Here we are at Kirkcaldy, and again an 80s kind of throwback, because this was of course the home of Jockey Wilson. Did he win the World Championship a couple of times, but this was certainly his hometown. We didn't take the right hand side doors by mistake, did we? No, we're alright. Right, Cameron Bridge. So when we get to Cameron Bridge, of course, we are on the Leven branch. Yeah, fantastic, yeah. I was watching a couple of the old World Championship finals, you know, only bits and pieces, a couple of minutes here and there. Well, yeah, you can kind of imagine, can't you? And you know, obviously, you know, I presume it was drink, but yeah, I was watching Jockey Wilson against Eric Bristow. I think it was the 1989 final, if I remember rightly. Of course, it was Jockey Wilson, Eric Bristow. The commentators, BBC, were Sid Waddell and Tony Green, and then you think, crikey, all four of them are no longer with us. Yeah, well, that's right, and you can as well, TrainSim Classic. I mean, that's again something I've not done yet, but we've done King's Cross to Leeds with the 91, but we must also at some point do a King's Cross Cambridge run. He did indeed, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still watch bits and pieces of the darts, and it's the perfect backdrop to a winter's night such as this, and you know, enjoy it now. And of course, there was all that news about Luke Little last year, wasn't there? He didn't even win the thing, did he? But people kind of almost forgotten who did win it. But yeah, some are great characters, and of course, as well, the final used to be played, you know, my neck of the woods in Longton at Jolly's. Excuse me. I think so. I think he's still in it. But yeah, I love. As well, I was looking back some of the old places where, you know, some of these events were. You know, there was a. Obviously, you got. Say the World Championship was in Longton. Then there was a tournament on BBC. From Middlesbrough, called it Gaskins in Middlesbrough or something, and Canby Island as well. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes, indeed. I mean, I believe at my old insurance place, I mean, I worked in Longton, but we had a branch in Burslem, and I think Phil Taylor actually went in there one day, and of course my old mate who was working for it didn't know who he was. Yeah, well, I think that was slightly more, that moved it into a slightly more glamorous setting, didn't it? At least it was the Lakeside Country Club. And the thing I always remember is with the World Championships on BBC, when it started being at Lakeside, then we got a few shots of the Lakeside from the outside, but you never got a shot of when it was at Jolly's, because it was, you know, basically it was above Longton bus station, so it was not a place of glamour. Yeah, and Adrian Lewis won it a couple of times, didn't he? And then there was another Stokey as well, wasn't there? Brain's evading me as to his name, but there was a third one as well, I'm sure. I used to love her. Oh, excellent! Yeah, excellent. I know I've got a mate who, for years, he talks about going I think it was the World Match Play, wasn't it, in the summer, and Blackpool, and for years my mate wanted to go, but we could never quite get tickets for it. But it always looked fabulous, and again, great time of the year. I've never been to a live darts. That's who I'm thinking of, yeah. Yes, so I believe, yeah. That's what I was thinking in the back of my mind. I couldn't think of his name, and I thought, even if I could, then there's something dubious about what happened to him, and you're absolutely right, yeah, said Hanky. And I don't know, I mean, sometimes oh, wait a minute, should have got down to 30 a bit earlier there, but never mind. Yeah, I can imagine so, yeah. I mean, maybe it's at the time, and maybe, you know, it's like you say, I think nowadays things are so much more popular than they used to be. But, you know, it's sort of online, you know, as long as you're early enough, it's probably fairly straightforward. I mean, I used to think years ago, it's kind of, imagine going watch darts in probably the 70s and the 80s, and it's kind of, what would you see? You'd see this small little dart ball, but of course now they've got all the big screens up, so you kept in touch with it. Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think the only thing is you couldn't go to the darts and drive, could you? You'd have to be stopping overnight somewhere. Oh, brilliant, yeah. there's always a competition to see how many pints they get on the tables. Yeah, I'd imagine it's a brilliant evening now. So yeah, definitely, I'd love to do that sometime. I think they've kind of almost given up, haven't they, with this PDC and BDO version of the tournaments as well. I think there still is the BDO going though, isn't there? But you know, there's only really one definitive, you know, the top echelon now has to be the PDC stuff, doesn't it? And I was glad to see as well, because there's been times when the World Darts Final's been on the tally on New Year's Day, and then I'm going work the following day for the first day back, and I'm kind of thinking I can't get myself excited about watching this because I'll just be you know, almost getting depressed about getting back to work again. But I think this year it's on Friday the what is it, the 2nd or the 3rd Friday anyway, after the start of the new year. Yeah, because what's New Year's Day? New Year's Day is Wednesday, isn't it? And then Thursday, Friday, so it's Friday the 3rd, isn't it? So I can actually watch it this year. Again, another reminder, this is the update on the route from Rivet Games to add the Leven branch in, which is only reopened this year, so it's fabulous to see it in the game. Again, we're talking about new trains to drive on, but it's fantastic to see new route miles that have only just been added onto the real train map in recent times, because it used to be open many years ago, but reopened again in 2024. Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for watching again. Yeah, really thanks and appreciative of your support. And yeah, have a lovely Christmas. And I'll see you hopefully before the new year, because next Sunday will be the 29th, so if you get the chance to watch that, then great. But yeah, have a lovely holiday, enjoy your time in your camper van, and see you again soon. Thank you very much. Coming into Cameron Bridge now. This is the distillery on the right. Huge structure.
Will soon arrive at Cameron Bridge. Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
Cameron Bridge. It's just a relatively short hop to into Leven. And that will bring the stream to an end for tonight. I mean, there's sometimes when the lighting effects on Train Sim World are brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but there are other times when you look at it and you think, wow, and there are times when you almost think, I could be actually in the real world. It's that good. Leven is our final stop. Be thinking about these signals. That was single yellow, so I mean we are 1.3 miles away from the station, so presumably the final signal is before we get to the end of the platform. It might be that we've got a train waiting to come out. I'm a bit cautious, but then I'm just conscious of some of the other things that have happened tonight on the stream. It's fine, we are signalled into platform 2. Again, another fabulous run on this route.
We'll soon arrive at Leven Station. Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
I think somebody's pointed out it shouldn't be we're now arriving at Leven Station. It should be we're just now arriving at Leven, surely. You don't suddenly say we're now arriving at London King's Cross Station. Now, it seems to have the stopping point about halfway down the platform, and I just can't get my head around that. So I feel as though we should be going right to the end, because that's where the passengers would be arriving. As you can see, that they're drifting in from the right, so surely that's right. So here we are at a snowbound Leven. Again, you can see this has been nicely done as well. Again, you know, you haven't obviously got masses of detail over here, but it's just enough to give you the general feeling of the area. So, you know, congratulations again, and thanks from Rivet Games for actually producing the Leven branch and adding more value to this route, and it's fast becoming, you know, one of the great routes that has come out in 2024. So on that note, it's been absolutely lovely to be again part of the stream. Oh no, crikey, it's snowing. How did that come about? Christmas isn't all about snow, and maybe more so this part of the world in Scotland than it is elsewhere. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's runs. I think it's fair to say I need a bit more practice on the Swiss Alps. That takes a bit of doing, even with the cruise control. But I hope you've enjoyed the stream, and it's, again, thank you very much for everybody watching, and if you haven't done so before, you've enjoyed the video, even bits of it, then if you could like and subscribe, hit that notification button, and you will be told when the next stream is on. That should be next Sunday, and if I get the time, I'll put some more videos up in between. But from me, and again, thanks for all the support and the people who have subscribed this year. Each and every one of you is really welcome, and the support, the chat, the interest has been terrific. But apart from that, it's time to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Have a fabulous time, and we'll see you before the new year, hopefully next Sunday at 5 o'clock. And until then, from Power Flower, Trains and Planes, it's a very good night to you. Merry Christmas.